A very serious crash in Beaverton. This is a live look at Southwest Murray and TV Highway, where we just learned that 2 people died in this crash. A deputy is in serious critical condition. Take a look at the damage. It's so bad it's hard to tell what's what. Katu is on your side with team coverage. Mike Warner and Hannah Olson will have the impact on the commute, ways to get around this. First, let's get right to Katu's Nikki Torres, who just got to the scene. Nikki, this is really bad. 2 people dead, 4 in critical condition. Is that what you're hearing?
Yes, Angelica, so we just got new information from the Beaverton Police Department. We'll go ahead and pan over. We're about a couple blocks away. We're here at the Washington County East Precinct office for the Sheriff's Office. You can see all of those flashing lights down there at that intersection. So here's the new information that we just received. Again, it just came down about 10-15 minutes ago. So what we know now is that this car accident, it happened just before 12:30 this morning at the intersection of Southwest Tualatin Valley Highway, TV Highway, and Murray Boulevard. So what we know now is that a Washington County deputy was part of this crash, and they were on duty in a marked car from the Sheriff's Office. The other vehicle was a silver Nissan Altima, and we know now that there were 5 people inside of that Nissan. Early investigation says that the Nissan ran the red light at that intersection and then hit the deputy on duty. 2 people in that Nissan, they died on scene. The 3 other people in that car, they are now in critical condition. They were taken to the hospital, as well as the sheriff's deputy. And right now we know that they are also in critical condition, that deputy. Now this is on eastbound TV Highway. They are closed at 53rd and Milliken as of this morning. It is also closed at northbound Farmington and West 141st. And Angelica, we are still working on getting more information. Again, we just arrived, got new information from the Beaverton Police Department. We are working to get more information and waiting to hear back.
Crews still working hard off I-5 in southwest Washington tonight, trying to recover 2 semi-trucks that left the road in a big crash. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for K2 News at 11, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
And I'm Deborah Knapp. That crash happened around 1:30 near Woodland and caused some major delays on I-5 southbound. K2 News' Eric Mock was at the crash earlier today, joins us now from the Live Center. So how did this happen, Eric?
Well, basically at that time, some heavy rain was coming down on the road. And according to troopers, that caused the roads to get a little slick. Add to that, some drivers going too fast. You've got a recipe for some major damage.
Pulling up on a scene like this, you always expect the worst.
And who wouldn't? With guardrails destroyed, 2 semi-trucks going over the side of an embankment, one of them even landing in the Columbia River. But for all that damage, the injuries, Washington State Trooper Will Finn says, were few.
It's amazing that no one was hurt, and the only injury sustained was a broken finger.
Trooper Finn says one car started to hydroplane at this section of I-5 in southwest Washington Tuesday at around 1:30 p.m. When the car slowed down and spun out into another lane, a semi-truck in that lane slammed into it, sending it crashing into several other cars. Then that semi-truck swerved right into another semi, sending both trucks over the side. One truck caught fire and the cab was completely destroyed, while the other went into the river and started spilling fuel. The Washington State Department of Ecology put floating barriers around the truck to try to contain the 200 gallons worth of fuel that was spilling into the water. Trooper Finn says this crash shows how speeding and bad weather definitely don't mix.
Speed limits are created for ideal conditions: dry, clear visibility, and not much traffic on the road. The conditions were not ideal, and somebody was driving at a speed that was not safe. So yes, there will be an infraction issued to that causing driver for speed too fast for conditions today.
Crawled to my window thinking, war zone. That's what it felt like.
Some scary moments for residents all around town after a string of RV fires and explosions take place over the last month. So we are told were arson somewhere. Others are still being investigated. But viewers we've talked to say they're concerned about this.
So here's where the fires happened. The first one was on Northeast 33rd and Sunderland. That's the one police say was intentionally set with an explosive. Then next on Southeast 92nd and Division, deemed accidental. Then 2 more last night, one off Airport Way by 205 and the other one at Southeast 84th and Lafayette.
K2's Kelly Ozier live in Southeast Portland with this one. What do investigators say about that particular one right there, Kelly?
Well, this one you can see right behind me left quite a bit of damage, and fire crews say that they are still investigating at this point. But neighbors that we spoke with told us that there was a very loud explosion just before 3 o'clock this morning that even shook their homes. The list continues to grow. Shells of what were once RVs or homes for some are now burned out with nothing left.
I was on my couch Friday night. It was an explosion.
That's Chris Percy. He lives near an RV fire that happened in the past month. Since then, there have been 4 more. One along 33rd and Sunderland that investigators say was intentionally set by someone throwing an explosive device. And the 2 most recent happening overnight on Monday. One on 84th and Lafayette, where just a burned out frame is left today. Percy says the fire near his home, he believes, was also intentionally set.
They saw someone break the window, throw something in and walk away, and then a few minutes later it went up.
Portland Fire and Rescue say their investigators haven't determined any connection, and they are still working to figure out how each fire started. But for many neighbors like Percy and those living around 84th and Lafayette say they can't help but wonder what could have happened if someone were inside or if the fire spread.
There was no one in the RV, thankfully. The owner came back the next day and was just devastated. She had said that her jewelry box had already been gone through. A steel case. It was open and it was empty.
In fact, here at the Evergreen School District, this is actually their second time making this request this year. They put it on the ballot in February and it only garnered about 43% of the vote, so they knew they had some ground to make up. But let's take a look at the latest numbers this morning from the Clark County Election Office. We know that by the slimmest of margins right now, that Evergreen school levy is set to pass, but there's still 9,000 ballots left to count, with yes leading by less than 300 votes. Meanwhile, also in Clark County, the Ridgefield School District's bond measure currently set to fail. I know that doesn't look like it. It's picked up 56% of yes votes, but it needs a 60% supermajority in order to pass. So these mixed results, they come at a time where school districts are trying to balance when and how they ask for more funding from the public. In Oregon, for example, the David Douglas School District, they decided to delay their bond measure from May to this November. They cited gas prices, rising inflation, and overall economic uncertainty. As the board chair says, the district is saying right now it's not the right time to ask.
David Douglas tends to be a lot poorer than some of our neighborhood districts. And so things like increasing gas prices, the war in Ukraine really do have an impact on the community. And we wanted to better understand that so that we could make good decisions for the district.
Do you have a concern, though, with that in mind, that maybe some of these factors that led in part to the decision to delay this could get worse by November?
I don't think anyone can predict the future, but I do think that we can make a reasonable proposal based on what's happening at the moment, giving some time to consider what are the ways that we can protect folks from that price sensitivity that we know is there.
Now, beyond that, David Douglas's bond committee plans to meet this summer to discuss what changes may need to happen in response to some of these mitigating factors here. And in addition, the Beaverton School District, they have their bond measure proposal on the May 17th ballot. That's going to lead to seismic upgrades to a lot of their school buildings that need it if that bond measure is approved.